So hey, today I want to talk about arrow functions. Arrow functions are new to JavaScript in ES6, and I just want to talk about what they are and why you might want to use them. I have the notes already written here, so that way if you guys maybe aren't understanding from my voice tutorial, you can maybe understand from the written. Arrow functions are concise. They're a quick shorthand way to let the browser know or let JavaScript know that you want a function. So we're just going to talk about some rules, and for that, I'm going to pull up the console. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. So, well, first and foremost, let me just tell you that I'm assigning these variables to these functions just so I could show you in a better way. It's very rare that you create a function that looks like this, however. So this is how you normally would write a function, just like this. Say hello, so say hello, and also let me just go ahead and declare a variable equals, so I can go ahead and say hello and then me. I'm just going to go ahead and say hello Tariq. So that's a normal function, just what you guys are used to by now. And the other one I have here, just to show you, is say goodbye. It's the exact same thing, just obviously with a bit different code. Generally, your functions aren't going to be this simple, but this is where you would put the function's body. Let me try not to click on my keyboard too much. All right, now arrow functions. Arrow functions are simply just the equal sign and the greater to sign, but when you combine them, they become something much greater. So say bonjour. Now, as you notice here, I don't have the word function, and I just don't have the word function. But let's see what happens when I type in say bonjour. Say bonjour to me. It's going to go ahead and say console log bonjour plus the name. And the name is the me variable, which is Tariq, which is my name. So arrow functions, as you can tell, you don't need to say the word function, because by typing in the arrow, JavaScript already knows that you want to be a function. This parentheses, these parameters are the same thing, and then the actual curly brackets are here, and then the function body is right here. So it's just a different way of writing your functions. However, they come with some rules. One of the rules is that one-line functions do not need the curly braces, so they don't need these. So for the say hola function, I don't have any curly braces, as you can see. And also, if you only have one parameter, which I do, which is just the name parameter, then you don't even need the parentheses around your parameters, because JavaScript knows there's only one parameter. So say hola to me. I hope you guys are liking the language lesson as well. Hola Tariq. So this works perfectly fine, even though I don't have parentheses and I don't have curly brackets. And if we were to run that again, it's still going to work. So let's just go ahead and take that off. Okay. Another rule for arrow functions is the fact that if you have multiple parameters, you do need parentheses. So for my assalamu alaikum, I have first name and last name. Now let's go ahead and try that out. Assalamu alaikum. Oh, that's right. My last name is Steele. Oh, did not put it inside of a string. Sorry about this, guys. So assalamu alaikum, Tariq Steele. Cool. And as you can tell, we need the parentheses because we have more than more than one parameter. So if I were to get rid of this, I should get an error. First name is not defined. There it is. There's your error. Now let's see if I try to run it. Say Assalam is not defined. It breaks your code. So let's just put that back. Okay, moving on to the next rule. Oh, I need to reload. Cool. Moving on to the next rule. Multi-line functions need curly braces. So let's go ahead and say ni hao. And this is just, just logging 3 different things. So it's saying, hello, me. Mandarin's the world's most spoken language, spoken by 1.3 billion people. Now, if I were to get rid of these curly brackets, what's going to happen? It's only the first one's going to work, because this, JavaScript inserts a semicolon right there if you don't add in your curly brackets. So it has no way of knowing what you want to work. Now, something I would like to try is, these are just all 3 essentially different commands, and that's why it's not working. It only works on the first one, which would technically be on one line. So if you want multiple lines, which is going to be the majority of your functions, well, I don't want to say that. A lot of times you do have inline functions, and a lot of times that's when I use arrow functions. Yeah. A lot of times if they're multi-line, I just like to use regular old functions. Now let's move on to higher order functions. Higher order functions are functions that take in functions as their parameter. The one we're going to be talking about is map, which goes through each item in the array and applies a function to them, essentially. So we have this array here called teams, and it has 4 football teams, all in the NFC South. We're just gonna name it teams for now. So go ahead and log that, and it should just pop up easy. It's an array, Go Panthers. Now, if I wanted to map, so let's go ahead and log teams.length. Let me show you guys what it gives you. So teams.length gives you the length of each item in the array. So Panthers is 8, Falcons 7, 6, and 9. And this is the arrow function. It's super concise. It's one line, and it looks rather simple, just like this. Now, if you weren't going to use the arrow function, if you want to map, if you want to do the same thing you're doing here, but without the arrow function, you'd have to use an anonymous function. And anonymous functions are just functions without names, and they can't be called or referenced outside of this little tiny piece of code. So if without arrow functions, I'd have to do something like teams.map function, name as the parameter, and then return names.length. That's another thing arrow functions do. They automatically assume that the thing in the function body is being returned, so you don't even have to type in return, because if I were to remove return, this would not work. But let me just go ahead and do teams.lengths, and it gives you the exact same thing. But if I were to delete return, as you might guess, it's not going to work, because JavaScript's like, all right, what the fuck do you want me to do with length? So that's arrow functions in a nutshell. I hope you guys learned something from it, and hopefully I come out with some more coding tutorials. All right, thank you.